Greetings, children, and welcome to my chamber. My name is Rotherick Gastblood, and I'm your host of Tales from the Dark Chamber. This week, we have a great show for you. Tales to make your skin crawl. Each week, my chambermate and I read a scary tale that we found on the internet, or perhaps left under some corpse. Either way, we think you're going to like it, and we're just dying for you to hear it. So sit right back, light a candle, and let's have a ghoul evening.
Good morning there, Rotherick. What's shaking?
Well, good morning there, Woody. Are you going out today?
Well, yeah, I have to go to work. Yeah, why?
Have you been to the barber lately?
No. I do have to go, though. My mop is getting a bit long and all.
Have you looked in the mirror lately?
No. Why?
Well, you might want to.
Hang on. Ah! What the bloody hell? My hair! It's all gone! Rotherick, I'm bald! What the?
Sleepwalking again, I see.
No, not that I know of. Hang on. Jesus. So I just checked my bed and it's full of my hair.
Yours, I presume?
Well, yeah, duh. All of it. Every follicle.
Oh, what on earth did you do?
I don't know. I have no idea how all my hair just fell out of my head. And there's this awful smell in my room. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Rotherick, look at this. Yeah, very funny. Very funny.
So, Woody, why don't you tell our audience here exactly what you have in your hand?
I don't wanna.
Go ahead. Tell them.
No, I don't wanna.
You're not going to tell them that you bought hair remover instead of shampoo?
Thanks, Ricky. Thanks for telling them.
Oh, this is too funny to keep to myself. Especially a ninny move like this. Well, at least you'll be the talk of the shop there. I can't say what reaction you'll get, but good luck.
Gee, thanks. But that does remind me of tonight's story. We read The Underground by Iron Mosquito. I wonder if he was in a band. Oh, that was Iron Butterfly. Anyhow, we hear an odd tale of a young man who finds himself in an odd underground chamber where he has to fight for his very existence. But it's not exactly as it seems. Enjoy. The Underground by Iron Mosquito. Parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bright light. The shape of a face. My eyes flutter open. A young man's face comes into focus, slowly but surely. He has dark skin, He has a deep scar across his forehead and a small slash on his nose. His head is shaved. He's leaning right over me. "Hey, guys, he's awake," he exclaims. Where am I? His eyes were kind. He extends his hand. He then says, "Welcome to the underground. I'm Block. Just hold on. You don't want to fall down when Knots unties you." I look down as I grab his hand. Now, I notice that my right leg is tied down. I gasp as a small arm reaches out from under where I was resting. It seems I'm resting on some sort of wooden board. It's raised at least a foot off the ground. The arm unties my leg from the board. Block hoists me up. "You guys, he's walking now. Come see the newbie." We walked over to some cubicles, but in the floor. It had a bed and 3 drawers. The bed was small and the walls around it rose up about 3.5 feet. One was empty and Block pointed to it. "That one's mine. I'm going to get one for you ready." He left, and then a head popped out of one of the cubicles. "Hey, Block didn't lie. Hi there, newbie. I'm Sock. This guy here—" A head then slowly rose from the space next to his. "His name is Stick." Stick just nodded and went back into his space. Sock had a scar running across his left eye. Stick had no scars, surprisingly. They all had shaved heads. Where am I? "Well, we call this place the Underground. But to be honest, we don't really know either. As far as we can tell, it's a bunker. A big one. But there's another part, an arena of sorts, where the elimination happens." "Elimination?" "Don't worry, Block will explain it later." Time went by as I chatted with Sock. I asked him about the names and he said, "It depends what item you came with." I decided I would ask Block more later. Block then showed up about an hour later and showed me to my cubicle. I thanked him and I scoped it out. The drawers contained clothes, an electric razor, some hygiene products, a notebook and a pen, and a plastic knife? I stared at it. "So, you came with a plastic knife? Wow!" I was startled by the sudden voice. I turned to see Sock standing behind me, smirking. "We'll come up with a name tonight at dinner. You get a free meal since you're new. By the way, you'll need to shave your head before you go to sleep." And with that, he turned and walked away. A few minutes later, there was an announcement that told us to go to the mess hall. I made my way down to it, and outside the entrance, someone knocked me over. "Ha, newbie!" It was Stick. I looked at him from the floor as he walked away laughing. I got up and walked in. There were about 20 others, all shaved, sitting down. Block waved and invited me over to his table. "Hey, newbie, you'll be getting a name tonight. Get ready." "Okay, sure," I said. I stood up to grab some food. The meal consisted of bread, some sort of stew, and a biscuit. There was water to go with it. When I came back, it was time to learn names. There was Spark, an Asian guy who came with a broken piece of fire steel. He was tall. He had a cut across his lip and had a friendly smile. There was Wheeler. He came with a toy car's wheel. He was short and spontaneous. His eyes darted around as he introduced himself, and he constantly tapped his finger on the table. He had a long cut on his arm, but it had long faded away to nothing more than a line. There was Reflection, but everyone called him Ref. He had come with a hand mirror. He had a few old cuts on his arms, and he had dark skin, but not as dark as Block's. There were many others, but I liked these ones the most. They were very kind to me. After we finished eating, Block stood on the table and got everyone's attention. He dragged me up there with him and said, "This is a newbie. We're going to name him tonight. He came in with a plastic knife." Any suggestions? Various voices yelled things like slash and stab. When Sock said, "How about cut?" Block silenced the chatter. "Did you say cut?" Block asked with a slight smile. "Yeah, it sounds kind of cool," Sock replied. "What do you think, newbie? Is cut good?" Block asked. Yeah, I like cut. It does sound good," I replied happily. "So it's settled then. Cut is now in our ranks," Block yelled. "Now go to sleep, everyone." At this point, I was sure Block ran the place. He fit the role quite well. I was happy with that, as I was no longer the newbie. I was Cut. I was now a member of a club. But then the question came to me. What are we doing here? Why are we here? What is this place? Sock said a bunker, but for what? I dismissed the thought and headed over to my cubicle. As I jumped down to my bed, I opened the drawer which held the plastic knife. Cut. That's me, I thought. "Don't forget to shave that mop of yours." It was Spark. He kneeled down to my cubicle and pointed to the door at the back of the cubicle room. "That's the bathrooms. There's plug sockets next to the sinks. Clean up your hair after, okay?" Sure thing, Spark. Thanks." "No problem, Cut. See you tomorrow." I headed off to shave. I got there, opened the door, and plugged in the razor. I leaned over a waste bin and started shaving. Clumps of my dark brown hair fell in. When I felt completely shaved, I looked around in the mirrors above the sinks. I had started a new life. My former one forgotten. I am Cut. But who was I before? There was someone before Cut. I unplugged the razor, checked for stray hairs, and headed back. I lay down on my bed and fell asleep. I stood facing someone. He had a mess of dark brown hair, green eyes, and a slight smile. It was nothing but a grassy plain around us. "Who are you?" I asked this person. He spoke up, looking at me. "Well, I'm really surprised you don't remember. I'm you. I've always been, but you've changed now." He looked away. What did he mean? He's me. I'm him? How the hell is this possible? I just shook my head. What the hell do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about, okay? He just looked at me with a sad look. You're wondering who there was before Cut. Now you know. I'm you, Jason. I don't remember much more of the dream, but I do remember these parts. There was a crack, and the plane opened up into a huge fissure. I was sucked in as this Jason watched sadly. I felt like I was being suffocated. Then my eyes snapped open and I felt hands wrapped around my neck. I was being strangled. Someone was sitting on my legs, their arms outstretched. I tried to cry out, but I only made a whimper. My attacker's shaved head was only just visible in this dark. Then he muttered under his breath, "Shit! I wanted to do this while you were sleeping." He squeezed tighter. My vision was starting to blur, and I thought it was over. But then, my savior arrived. A hand reached over and grabbed the attacker's head. Then he slammed it against the side of my cubicle. The hands let go instantly, and I sucked in great amounts of air, so much. The person who saved me said, "Start the lights, quick!" I recognized this deep voice as Block. He waited for the lights to come on. When they did, he looked at this attacker. His eyes grew in surprise. "The hell? You were dead! Sock, get the hell over here! You won't believe this!" Sock scrambled over, jumping over cubicles. When he stopped at mine, he looked at the attacker. "It's Burr," he said. I got a better look. This person seemed to have at one point in time burned off his face. His head was a tangle of black hair, grown long and filthy. His eyes were closed. He took shallow breaths. Unconscious. He had no eyebrows and no eyelashes. His lips were burned off, revealing more of his jaws than I wanted to see. His nose was a mere stub on his face, and his eyes were just holes in his head. I felt sick. Block and Sock were whispering. Block came over and checked my throat. "It's badly bruised. We can't do much. Try not to talk." I nodded in understanding. It hurt so much. This Burr person, from my understanding, was someone who had died years prior. He then reappeared here. I don't know, but he wanted me dead. Sock pulled his body away, said he was going to dispose of it. Block then pulled me aside. "I might as well explain the elimination. Basically, we all get dropped into a huge arena and fight until a timer goes off. There were multiple traps as well. Fire traps, spike traps, etc. Burr got burned, as you can see. You just need to survive. We have one scheduled today. Get ready." With that, he got up and walked away. I'm scared. I might kill someone. But who would be the killer then? Jason or Cut? I was starting to think that maybe we were the same person. As one, but separated. Am I losing it? I put my head in my hands. I am losing it. I need to figure out who Jason is, but while I'm here, I'm Cut. I'm Cut. I repeated this as I walked into the arena entrance. The door led me to a small room. A small scanner sat on the other end of the room. I walked over to it. "Eye identification, please. Place your eye in front of the scanner." "Okay." I looked straight at it. "Welcome, Cut. Please prepare for equipping. Good luck." The floor opened up beneath me and I fell into a tube. I was startled, but I said nothing as I didn't want to damage my throat further. I reached the end of the tube and was promptly thrown onto the floor. In front of me, there was a table with a metal sheet on it. It had a skeleton on the top. There was also a knife. A kitchen knife, I guess. I attached the metal sheet to my front like armor. I grabbed the knife. A door opened up in front of me. I walked through into the arena. It was huge, with a center and barricades scattered around. I saw two people fighting in the middle. I decided to look around. Almost as soon as I turned, someone jumped at me. They had a small blade. "Rah! I'll get you!" he yelled. He thrust his blade towards me, nearly cutting me in the process. Adrenaline pumped through my veins, and with unknown instincts, I slammed the blade between his neck and shoulder. Blood poured from the wound, and I quickly grabbed my knife back. "How? What?" The person I cut fell over. I looked at him and left. "Jason, open up! Now! Get out!" Mom was screaming through the door. She was banging on it now, trying to unlock it, but too late. It was bolted shut and locked. I sat on the bathroom floor, a smile on my face, a kitchen knife in my hand. I was going to end this all, right here, right now. Mom can't stop me. Dad pushed me to this. I was miserable. But now, I'll finish this. I'll put the knife to my wrist. Mom slammed on the door. things had become so quiet. I barely even knew where I was going. I just knew I needed to leave. The person I had killed had stopped moving completely as I gripped my knife and fled the scene. I felt like I was going to get in trouble for killing this person. I didn't even know who it was. They might have had a life with friends, and I had taken that away from them. What kind of monster was I? I found myself under a rock of some sort. It was just small enough for me to crawl in. I could see what was happening around the arena. It was horrifying. My mouth dropped as I watched people being cut down right and left, being slaughtered like livestock. There was one in particular who seemed to be killing simply for fun. A huge, brooding person, shaved like us, was chasing after people who were easy to catch and bashing their heads in with a hammer. He would chase them down and crack their skulls open with a simple hammer, smiling with glee each time. After the victims stopped moving, he leaned over and ripped a tooth out of their mouth. He would put the tooth in a pocket on his shirt. It was all too much. What had I done to deserve this? Where am I in this hellish world? I stayed hidden until an alarm blared. "Arena time is over. Please move to the center of the arena," said the same voice that asked me for my eye identification. I squirmed out of my spot and got up. I started to move to the center in a daze. I didn't even realize it until I looked at my hands that my knife was disappearing, turning to dust in my hands. It slipped through my fingers as I walked on. I stumbled over to where the rest of us were gathered. "Congrats, Cut! You made it out alive," said Block, who happened to have been standing next to me. "I killed someone," I said, without looking at him. "Cut!" He started to try and comfort me when I looked up and cut him off. "Why do we have to do this? I don't need to kill them, do I?" His eyes became sad as he replied, "Yes, you do. If you want to get food every night, you have to kill at least one person monthly. The more you kill, the better you get fed, and the stronger you get. The machines that give us food scan your eyes, so they know how many people you've killed and how much food you get." I nodded and stayed silent as everyone else came to the center. When everyone was here, it began to lift up, and the ceiling opened up. Then we reached the top. We found ourselves in a big room with one door. Everyone shuffled over to the door, so I followed. As we left, I realized that it led back to the sleeping cubicle area. I called up to Block as he went back to his cubicle. "Block, I have some questions." "Sure thing, buddy. What's up?" He stopped so I could talk to him. Who exactly was Burr? It still pained me to talk after Burr strangled me. Block looked away. He was an old friend. He was here for a long time until he got burned to death in the arena. I don't know how he's back." He looked up and made eye contact. "Anything else?" "Who was the one who bashed people's heads in with a hammer?" I asked. Block seemed relieved that it wasn't about Burr. "Well, that's Hammer. He always killed the most, and he steals his victims' teeth. One for each victim, and adds them to his necklace. He has over 100 teeth on that necklace." He looked nervous. "He doesn't like to be talked about." His eyes darted around and he turned away quickly. "Good night," he muttered. He walked away to his cubicle. I walked to mine, even more confused than before. How did Burr come back? The question burned into my mind. As I lay down on my bed, the thoughts began to disappear. Cut's thoughts began to disappear. "Jason, get over here now!" my father yelled. I scampered over to him, keeping my eyes down. I approached him cautiously. "Yes?" I asked in a quiet voice. "Go make me some dinner," he demanded. Yes, sir, I replied, leaving quickly to make him some food. If I did everything he asked, I could avoid a beating. If I could make this dinner right, I would be safe. That's what I repeated to myself as I made my father's dinner. That's what I repeated to myself as I cried into my arm when I heard him yelling at my mother. That's what I repeated every day for as long as I could remember, and I wanted it to end. Only I could bring this to an end. My eyes snapped open. What was this? Who were those people? I had seen 3 people. One was a tall and buff man with patchy stubble and a permanent scowl. He was balding, but his hair was still a dark brown color. The second was a frail-looking woman with a bruise that covered a good part of her face. She had gray streaks in her otherwise fiery red hair. She had tired eyes. The third was someone I recognized. I had seen him twice in my dreams. The first time we met on a plane. Second, I wasn't able to speak, but I watched as he locked himself in a bathroom and killed himself. Jason. Who was Jason, and why did he appear in my dreams like this? He said he was me, but that couldn't be true. He killed himself. I saw it in my dream. Unless that was just a dream and nothing more. It was all too confusing. The dreams were pushed from my head as I remembered the events from yesterday. The elimination. I had killed someone. I needed to if I wanted food. That's what Block said. Still, I felt like scum. Without anything else to do, I got up and changed into my regular clothes. I never noticed before, but all my old clothes were replaced overnight. Creepy. When I returned to my cubicle, most of the others were up and about already. Block was chatting with Spark, Sock, and Wheeler, until he noticed me return. He said nothing to them and approached me. "Hey, how's it going? You doing any better?" he asked, smiling gently. "Yeah, I actually had a question." "Shoot," he said, grinning. "Do you ever have dreams where you see a different person's life?" I asked. His grin disappeared and it was replaced by a serious look. Yes?" He looked around cautiously. "We can't talk about them, though. Someone might be listening." This surprised me. What happened to confident, laid-back Block? "Yeah, okay. Just wondering," I replied. He nodded and retreated to his other buddies. The rest of the day was relatively uneventful, with nothing scheduled by our mysterious overseers. I only ate my meals and worked out in the training room. I only found out about it today, actually. It's a room full of exercise equipment and such. I saw Stick there, but he didn't exercise. He eyed me from across the room. After some evening workouts, I went and joined up with the usual group of Block, Ref, Spark, Wheeler, and Sock for dinner. We chatted about some of the others we lived with. "Stick is an odd one," Block said. "No one knows who he is, really. He doesn't get close to anyone. He has no scars, and he's been here longer than I have. He gave me a quick tour when I first arrived." "Wow, I had no idea," I replied. "Yeah, dude's a mystery." We continued our gossip until the lights went out. I climbed into my cubicle. I was so tired from my workouts today that as soon as my head hit the pillow, I was asleep. I was walking home from school. Today hadn't been a great day. I got into trouble for a scuffle, and my parents had been called. I knew what was in store for me. I pushed open my condo's peeling front door and set my bag down. I sat on the torn couch, not even bothering to try to hide from my father. It was no use, and resisting would only make the punishment worse. Soon enough, the troll lumbered into the living room. "Stand up, boy," he commanded. I shot up and looked down. I got a call from school today. What did I tell you? Not to get in fights, I replied. And what did you do? Get in a fight. Look at me, he said. I looked up, and as soon as his eyes met mine, he swung at my face. My head snapped to the side as a pain shot through my cheek. I stumbled around, trying to regain my balance, and he struck me in the stomach. As I crumpled to the ground, he smirked and looked down on me. Listen to me next time, boy! Yes, sir! I wheezed. The Underground by Iron Mosquito. Parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, folks, that's our story tonight. Rotherick and I hope you enjoyed it. We sure had a great time bringing it to you, and we really appreciate you listening. Tune in next week when we bring you another chilling Tales from the Dark Chamber. And just a note, if you're an aspiring author and want your story read here on Tales from the Dark Chamber, send us a note at talesfromthedarkchamber@gmail.com. If it creeps old Rotherick out enough, we'll air it. And subscribe to our channel here for notification of our next new episode, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember, hit that like button and help us grow the channel. Also, make sure you tell your friends about us. Spread the word. If you want your story recorded for your own use, or just want to have it, check out my website at woodygvoiceover.net. You can order there. And again, thank you for listening tonight.